We have discussed Henry VIII, King of England. Now, Henry VIII became King of England. He married his brother's wife. His brother Arthur had passed away. He married Catherine of Aragon. The story of Henry VIII and his wives can tell us a lot about monarchy and religion in the early modern period. Henry VIII married Catherine of Aragon, and as we know, Henry needed a male heir. It was very important as a monarch, as a ruler, as a king, during this period to produce a male heir, to have a secure dynasty, to have a secure family line. Many kings did not have a secure leadership, and it was important for Henry to demonstrate that his leadership was secure. A male heir was considered one of the best ways to do that. However, Henry and Catherine of Aragon's child was Mary I of England. Now, Catherine and Henry were unable to produce a male, and Mary was their only child, and she grew up a strong Catholic like her mother. We can get a snapshot of Henry's children from this graph right here. See the red line in the middle? Up to the red line, he was married to Catherine of Aragon. He was married to Catherine of Aragon for almost 20 years. We'll see here that he had 4 children who all did not live past childbirth. Now this is very common. Unlike today, infant mortality was very high during this period. As you can imagine, there were no fancy hospitals, pre- or postnatal care. Mary, as we said, was their only daughter that survived. So Henry went on to have other children by other women. And we'll have to look into that story, which tells us quite a bit about religion and monarchy during the period. So we can see by now that Henry was eager to produce a male heir. And as he grew attracted to Anne Boleyn, who was a courtesan, a lady who was in the court or around the nobles all the time in their social circle, Henry looked to get divorced from Catherine of Aragon. His efforts to get a divorce agreed to by the Pope, his efforts to get the Pope to agree to allow him to annul or divorce Catherine of Aragon and the marriage to Catherine of Aragon, or to cause an unprecedented crisis, one of the greatest crises in religious or world history. So we can say that Henry fell in love with Anne Boleyn, but we can also say that Henry needed to get a male heir for political and religious purposes. We know at the time of the Reformation, that Europe was becoming increasingly divided based on religion. Look at this map at the end of the Reformation. We can see, look on the left, you can see all the different religious sects, mostly Catholic and Protestant, but Protestant also broke into Lutheran, Calvinist, Anglican. So Europe was getting increasingly divided. Henry saw this as an opportunity. He wanted the Pope who would be in Rome, and head of all the Catholic states through religion, the Pope to grant him an annulment to allow him to divorce or annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon. That would allow him to marry Anne Boleyn and perhaps produce a male heir that he so desperately needed. So Henry wanted to divorce or annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon, you can see on the left here, and he wanted to pursue a relationship with Anne Boleyn, you can see on the right. So Henry saw this schism, this divide between Catholic and Protestant as an opportunity. Henry decided to paint himself as a reformer who sought to reform the church or create another church. In fact, it was Henry's idea to challenge the power of the Pope. Unlike Martin Luther and John Calvin, Henry didn't really want to start his own religion. He just wanted to be the head of the church in his domain in England. Then he could essentially grant himself a divorce, as he was the head of the church. This did not go down very well with the Catholic Church. Pushing